Hello my loves and welcome to Refiinity. For my loyal family, welcome back, and for my new followers, I'm happy you're here. Today we're going to talk about my experience during pregnancy when I had preeclampsia. I mentioned it in my previous video, but I thought I'd do like a bit more information on how I felt in my experience. So let's get into it. For my followers, you know what we usually do, we check in. For my new followers, checking in is all about just asking yourself how you are today, what went right, what went wrong, and what changes can be made. You know, not every day is going to be perfect, but we work in the process of trying to, put things in place so that it can be better than yesterday. So the topic at hand is preeclampsia and my experience about it. So I'm going to talk about the definition, and I'm going to talk about the signs and kind of just tips on how to go about it. Preeclampsia is, I've made some notes, so bear with me ladies. I don't want to give y'all the wrong information. So preeclampsia is a pregnancy complication categorized by high blood pressure and signs of damage to other organs, often kidneys, and it usually occurs on the 20th, after the 20th week of being pregnant. And I believe I was probably like after 20 week when the doctors realized that I had preeclampsia. The symptoms, or the common symptoms, high blood pressure. I definitely had that. I had protein in my urine. That was ticked. I don't believe I had swelling in my hands and face, but I was pregnant and you put on weight, so I wouldn't say I ticked it. I just put on weight basically. I had headaches. Oh my gosh, I had headaches. I wouldn't even call it headache. It was a migraine. Like my head was pounding, I tell you, and changes in my vision. I wouldn't say I had changed my visions, but my eyes were like sensitive to light. So I'd rather be in like a dark room with no lights on, because like the light was really irritating my eye. Risk factors is usually women that have preeclampsia. Maybe it's your first child. I didn't take that box because this wasn't my first child. If you've had pre-existing health conditions. I wouldn't say I have pre-existing health conditions, but I do have like high blood pressure, so I guess that counts as having like existing health conditions. If you're carrying more than one child, I was only carrying one at that time, so I don't tick that box. If it's your first child, it wasn't my first child, so I didn't tick that box. And if you're over 35, and I didn't tick that box because I wasn't over 35 at that point. So I would probably just say it was the pre-existing like health condition, which I would say is the high blood pressure. Also, if you have hypertension, that could lead to, that could be like a risk factor. And if you have diabetes, but I didn't have diabetes, but in my previous pregnancy, I had gestational diabetes, which is a diabetes that you get when you're pregnant, and it usually goes away after. And if you guys want, I can make a video about that as well. So put like that in the comments if you want me to make a video about that and my experience and stuff like that. Diagnosis is usually done when you do like a urine test at like your midwife appointment, and they test how much protein is in your urine. And the treatment, there isn't really a treatment. It's usually they usually just say when you give birth it goes away, which usually does. So it's just really for them to monitor your blood pressure and just monitor that everything's okay with you and the baby. Going to the day I went to hospital. So I initially went into hospital because I was having headaches and I would say migraines at this point, and my eyes were sensitive to the light. So I went there and I went into the room I think they called me up, so then I put me in like a separate room, and even the lights in the room were so bright I had to like get them to off it because it was really hurting me. So I was just sitting there waiting. So the lady came in, she did my blood pressure and it was high, and usually I do it like 2 to 3 times just to make sure, you know, was it just high because you just came in, or is it high consistently, which it was. And they did a urine sample, and again, you know, I had protein in my urine, and I had protein in my urine before when I went for like my midwife appointment, which probably, you know, is a red flag, but I think it wasn't that much for it to cause concern. So I had urine in my sample, in my urine sample, and I had high blood pressure. So for me going to the hospital based on having a headache and being sensitive to light now resulted in me staying in hospital for 7 days, which that wasn't the plan. So I'm having to stay there for 7 days because my high blood pressure and my urine, you know, the protein in my urine. So the initial plan was for me to stay there for 24 hours and I had to urinate in like a big bowl for them to like collect all the urine for the 24 hours and then for them to test how much protein is in there. So I did all of that, and because my protein was, I believe it was up to 500 and it's meant to be around like 300, so I was like past the line like past the line. So obviously that was an issue, and my high blood pressure. So as a result of that, they pretty much diagnosed me to say, yes, you have preeclampsia. And because of the headaches, I was then told that I was going to have an MRI scan, which I did. And that is quite scary because like you're going through this little tube, and I'm not like a slim person, by the way. So I didn't feel claustrophobic, but uneasy, that this was new to me. So I did that. And as a result of me doing an MRI scan, they say, you know, we think, or it seems like there's like blood on the brain. And I was just like, oh my word. Oh, really? Like, oh, my life. I was just like, this cannot be happening right now. Like, blood on the brain. As soon as they said that, my brain started to do like cartwheels, thinking, okay, what am I going to do this? How am I going to sort this out? What's going to happen? Like planning for the unthinkable, right? Thank God they did more tests and obviously realized that it wasn't that, you know, it wasn't the blood in the brain, but it was just more the preeclampsia, you know, putting pressure and causing the headaches and the migraines. But when they did tell me that, and this was probably like day 3 into being in the hospital, I'll see if I can find like a video. So this is officially what day is this? I came here Monday night, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's just day 6. Day 6, 5 nights that I've been in the hospital. And obviously I initially came in with a banging headache. Oh my god, the headache was like unreal. I literally felt like I was gonna cut my head off. It was that bad. And I came with the banging headache. What else? And then my blood pressure was high as well, so they initially thought it was a blood clot because of the pressure in my head, because of the MRI scan, and then I had to do a CT scan. And they still wasn't too sure, thought it was an excess buildup of fluid on my brain. So I had an eye assessment appointment yesterday, which kind of cleared that up. But my urine results came out, and it basically shows that my urine is quite high. So I had to piss basically urine in a bottle for 24 hours, and the protein levels were 300. No, my protein levels was 520, and the maximum is meant to be is 300, so that's obviously pretty high. So basically said that I have preeclampsia. So I'm just waiting
to hear from the doctor to kind of see what the next steps are. Really and truly, I don't want to be induced, because that's one of the options, to be induced a bit earlier by 37 weeks. I was induced with my second child. I thought I was going to die. I don't want to have a C-section as well. So, I'm not really too sure what the best option is right now. But I have been here for 5-6 days. And it doesn't look like I'm going home today either. Because I went up on my blood pressure. So they put me on blood pressure tablets. They've increased the dose, and blood thinning injections to prevent blood clot. So yeah, this is where we are right now. We're waiting for the doctor to tell me what's going on. Pretty much.
It was like day 3, and I'm here sitting down on my bed thinking, you know, what's happening? I'm worried about the safety of myself. I'm worried about the safety of my unborn child. I'm worried about my children that I have at home. And at this point, I'm just like, this can't be happening. And I think what worried me the most is, you know, them saying the blood in the brain, and, you know, how that can affect me and the baby. So like I said, that wasn't the issue at that time, but because they said it, I was then like thinking, oh my God, what am I gonna do? So at that point, I don't think it was at that point, but maybe the next day, I was just like, I don't even have life insurance. Like, this can't be happening. So I called up the agency, you know, the insurance company, and I basically did it that day. I was just like, I cannot leave this earth without, you know, having something for my children, especially, you know, me not being there, and then the finance as well. So at least me having life insurance, if anything was to happen, would cover them. It wouldn't obviously replace me, but it would be something there for them to use if they needed it. I did that. I sorted that out. So days had gone by. I'm in the hospital, you know, they're doing the regular checks, the blood pressure and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I have a talk with them, and they say, obviously, because of the preeclampsia, we're going to have to induce you. I was induced in my other pregnancy. And I don't like it. Like, I would try and encourage anyone that is being told that they're going to be induced to kind of stay away from it as much as possible, because just imagine imagine your normal labor pains, if you're, you know, if you've been pregnant before, but like 20 times, 30 times worse. I mean, because it's almost it is artificial. So it's like bringing on your, you know, your contractions and making you go into labor without your body naturally doing it. So it hurts 10 times worse than just natural, you know, labor pains and contractions. You know, we have to induce you a bit earlier because of the risk, obviously, to you and the baby. And then the earlier the baby comes out, the preeclampsia goes away. And then obviously there was mention of maybe having a C-section. So that was, again, a worry for me, because I've never had a C-section before, and I've never had preeclampsia before. So I'm there, like, in my mind, somewhat panicking, like, not overly panicking, but like panicking in my brain, like, oh my God, what's going on here? What is this actually happening right now? So fast forward, I go home, you know, after the 7 days, and, you know, they've booked my induced date to come in. I come in for that, and the midwife makes my waters. Again, I feel like anything artificial, it just hurts. Well, I guess it didn't really hurt. It was really uncomfortable, because it was like my waters were broken without it happening naturally. After that, I was contracting, you know, so everything was kind of moving slowly and smoothly. So because it was moving quite nicely, they didn't have to induce me, so thank God to that, because that's really not the one. Oof, being induced, it's really not the one. So that was fine. So I was going to labor and everything was okay. Baby came out healthy. I came out fine. And like I said, you know, when you do give birth, the preeclampsia kind of goes away automatically. But thinking back, if I was to give myself tips or anyone else, I would say, you know, even when there were signs of protein in my urine before at my midwife appointment, I probably would maybe followed it up a bit more, because that's probably at the start of it. I would have probably went to A&E or spoke to my midwife about my headaches and my migraines. And again, being sensitive to light, you know, because even like, I guess being sensitive to light is kind of works hand in hand with the headaches, because, you know, being sensitive to light causes headaches as well on its own without even the headache being there first. But if I was to give anyone tips, it will just be to just make sure, you know, you attend your appointment so that they can test you, because when you do go for your midwife appointments, they do test you on like whether you have protein in your urine and stuff like that. So if you do, then obviously they can pick it up a lot faster. Making sure that you are taking like your pregnancy vitamins, because like for me, when I'm pregnant, I feel like I'm prone to being sick. Everyone could be sick in my house when I'm not pregnant and I'm okay. Like I don't get a cold, I don't get a cough, but as soon as I am pregnant, I am getting that cough and I'm getting that cold and everything else. And that's obviously because, you know, you're pregnant and your nutrients and all like your minerals and stuff is going to the baby. So that's why it's very important to take the pregnancy, you know, tablets and vitamins, so that you're kind of building up your own immune system and like the barriers to like viruses and stuff like that. I would also say keep a healthy diet as much as possible. I know when I was pregnant before, you know, the saying, oh, you're eating for two. I literally was like, yeah, I'm eating for two in my other pregnancies. So don't think that way, because when they say you're eating for two, it just basically means like having a meal and maybe like a banana or a fruit, or maybe like a yogurt, not like literally 2 plates or a plate and a half. Try and maintain a healthy eating and healthy lifestyle in terms of like exercising, not exercising dramatically, but going for walks, just to kind of avoid things like this. Avoid like the high blood pressure, which again is a symptom to preeclampsia. And yeah, those are like the major things I would say to kind of, you know, keep on track of. And the main thing I would say is, if you feel like something doesn't feel right, you know, maybe if it's your 3rd pregnancy, you're not really sure what feels right, but anything you feel like doesn't sit well with you or it's bothering you, speak to your midwife. If it's out of hours, you know, go to A&E. And usually A&E for pregnant ladies, it's, you know, it's a separate place, so it's not like with everybody else, so it's a bit more calmer and a bit more nicer. So don't say, oh, I'm not gonna go because I don't want to see an A&E for, you know, for longer hours. And they're pretty much quick, because they know like you're pregnant and you're carrying another child and they don't know why you're there. So just go, ask as many questions as you need to, you know, just get clarification on certain things. Don't think nothing is too big to ask about, and just know that when you are pregnant, your body's going to be going through a lot of changes that you're not aware of. And even if this is like not your 1st pregnancy, because this wasn't my 1st pregnancy, but this preeclampsia was new to me because I never had it before. And even when they said that maybe we might have to do a C-section, that's new to me as well. So different pregnancies kind of result in maybe different situations and results. So not every pregnancy is the same, and it's not going to be the same. Again, keep on top of your appointments. Stick to healthy eating. Try and, you know, exercise regular, walking. Kind of stick to taking your tablets and your pregnancy tablets, and just being overall healthy within yourself, mentally and physically, because apart from being pregnant, you can, you know, go into depression. And I'll try and make another video about that, because I did suffer depression, postpartum depression after my child, not this particular pregnancy, but one before that. So if you guys want to see that video, let me know in the comments below, and I can make that about how I felt and, you know, how it affected me and my life and my mindset and stuff like that. So yeah, those are the main tips I would say. But if you take anything from this video, if you feel any type of way, if you don't feel right, speak to someone and just let them know how you're feeling, let them know what's going on, and let them be the person, like especially if it's a midwife or doctor, to tell you, you know, this is okay, or, you know, this is not normal, we need to check this out. But do not be afraid to tell someone what's going on if you feel like it's not something that you're used to, or it doesn't feel right. So I'm gonna leave you guys with that. Hopefully this video has been helpful. I will try and make another video. Let me know if you want to make, like, if you want me to make another video, because in my other pregnancy I had gestational diabetes. I mentioned that before, and that's like a diabetes that you have when you're pregnant. So like I say, like every pregnancy is different. So yes, let me know in the comments below what you think, if you want me to make a video about that. But I will leave you with the advice, and hopefully it helps you, and share and like the video. Bye, my loves.